Hello there fellow NPCs, I am Carbon Scythe and today we're going to continue to play the letter. We have finally reached Luke Wright's chapter in this very horrifying horror story. It's been a few days since I played last, because I had to reboot my laptop, so I don't quite remember where I was. But I believe the last thing we saw was... right, now I remember. We hugged Hana, that was where we entered. Then we were drunk with Johans. And then we had a dream/memory of us going to a play with and wanting our mom to help us rehearse it. We weren't going to play, we were rehearsing for a play and things like that. Now we're grown up again and we just woke up. So, let's go. I choke back a scream and wake up in a cold sweat. With my heart pounding in my ears, it takes a while to remember where I am. Oh. Are you... I know you claim to love Hana, but this kind of looks like you have murder in your eyes. In the dark and cold of the room, one can't fault me for feeling ill at ease. It isn't as bright as a penthouse, and the renovations did little to change how old it feels. We've been here for less than a week. It'll take a bit more time to adjust. It's hard to feel cozy though when I'm bloody freezing. Nudging the lump of fabric next to me, I sigh.
It's cold. Don't hug the sheets, Hana.
That was awfully cute. She always did this though, it hardly bothers me. Growing up I was lucky to have something to use as a mattress. I'm not the one who grew up accustomed to Egyptian cotton with a thread count of 800. The size and warmth of Hana exuded on her own is usually enough to keep me sleeping through the night. The temperature tonight must be something else with how chilly it is right now. This is his first encounter with a ghost, and it's not certain that he understands it. I must be considerate, after all the poor dear is ill, though I loathe to think about what has just transpired.
Don't make me pull those sheets off you. That blanket is large enough to cover an elephant. You need to share.
He's kinda cute. It takes a while.
What was that, honey?
Hana is not the one in the bed! Motherfucking, that was very loud. I'm gonna lower the volume again. So I thought Luke was really... it was really quiet, but maybe Luke was just whispering.
Apologies. I'm just in a loo, so if you can give me a moment.
Here we go. There's no sign that they'll be moving where they lie. What does that mean? I'm not sure what that even means. With care, I go for a knife hidden under the side of my bed. It would be foolish of me to instigate anything while I'm unarmed after all. To pull back the covers would be a more difficult affair, because reaching out to uncover who was underneath, I have to prepare for anything and assume the worst. If I so much as see the nozzle of a gun, this is going to be a murder tonight. I know they say not to bring a knife to a gunfight, but I think I can sink a blade in his liver faster than he can point an aim. I see the rise and fall with the sheets, though it could easily be mistaken as the fault of the breeze. I hear their breathing. A great sense of foreboding comes over me, making me hesitate with my plan. I should just get Hana and myself out of here, not look back and let security handle it. That's what they're here for. Or maybe I should just man up. There's no way I'm risking the chance that inaction will put Hana in danger. But what's the worst that could happen, right? I've no reason to be afraid. There's no boogeyman under the bed, no monster in my closet. If anything, these things should be afraid of me. Right? I grab a fistful of sheets and throw them aside. Yeah, that's a bad idea. Nothing. Interesting. Nothing but a bunch of pillows stare back at me. Must be my imagination. I'd rather not think I'm going mad. Ha. Interesting. So a whole lot of nothing. Luke woke up in the middle of the night with a scream and in cold sweat. Finding comfort in the warm body next to his, he tried to get back to sleep and forget the images plaguing his mind, until Hana called out from the loo. Huh. It could very well be the stress getting to me, all this drama with Hana. I've been doing well all these years, all things considered. I guess I do have a breaking point. But still, the world goes on even if one cannot, and I must go along with it. I suppose a day or two tomorrow wouldn't hurt. Rest aside from a few hours of sleep will be welcome. More than. But I can't shake off the unease. I dare say that I feel afraid, irrationally so, that something will come creeping and crawling from under the bed even as I lay back down and close my eyes. Okay. I was maybe thinking that they would zoom out and we would see from the point of view of the bed that the ghost was standing by the far end of the room or something like that. But nothing at all. The odd dreams don't linger, thankfully. But with the morning comes another disturbance. Both too loud and too sharp for my taste. Ah! Zachary! Sack. And I have a very fine taste. When the piercing rings of a doorbell reaching even the bedroom, I'm very much inclined to think the person who built this place lacks any sense of it. Perhaps the only thing good in this is that the ruckus has chased away the needling guilt from last night's commotion, if only temporarily. Still, it's a bloody annoying distraction. I can tell already that it's going to be a long day. It hasn't even started. Before the racket even lasts another minute, I'm peeling myself off the bed and heading straight for the main door. There will be a murder today if this doesn't let up. How quaint. It seems everything in this blasted universe is intent on getting in my nerves as of late.
Gordon Bennett! Only a Nancy would knock at such an ungodly hour!
I don't know who Gordon Bennett is, though. In the first place, I shouldn't be the one doing this. This is why I hired a valet. For fuck's sake.
Where's that damn butler when I need him?
I'll be honest, if only for today. With a mansion this quiet at this hour of the morning, it's easy to believe those little ghost stories might be real. But the only horror here is how long Hana's patience with me will last after the incident at the party. Neither the deafening silence nor the biting chill spreading across every room in the place. There's no place for fear when another set of problems already burns that fuel. So I'll wait for another second. When no butler still answers my call, I simply yank the doors open myself, perhaps with more force than needed. And maybe it should be appropriately there, considering the person on the other side and the hour he dared appear on my doorstep. Even someone with half a brain knows not to disturb anyone this early. Brief confusion quickly gives way to anger, and before the bloody photographer can even get a word in, I'm hurling venom at him. It's less than he deserves, really. Hana will disapprove, scold me for treating the man with such disrespect, if she hears me right now. She seems fond of him after all, treats him like a friend she's known for years. But she's not here, isn't she? But she's not here, is she? Am I incorrect here? Isn't it supposed to be not negative and then positive, positive then negative? I just have now I'm feeling that that's the way it's supposed to be. What she doesn't know.
You again! It's bloody 6 in the morning. What the hell is it now?
Listen, sir, I know this is not a good time.
Oh, it's not a good time. Did you even check the clock before coming here? I bet you didn't.
This is still my home, and my rules also applies to this place as much as Hana's do. As simple as that.
Unlike you, the ones living in this house need to sleep.
It just so happens it's also a person I will never take a liking to. No need for remorse.
Come back when people are actually awake, or I'll call security on you.
He continues shouting even as I slam the door in his face. some nonsense about the news lately, and though I don't understand most of it. However, with the closed doors muffling the better part of it and with no ears to listen, his tirade doesn't last too long. Eventually he leaves in silence and once again fills the room as it should. In hindsight, maybe I should also call for psychiatric services. He certainly sounds mental just screaming like that. A suspicious man like him left roaming the immediate grounds. Nothing good can come of it. But if his presence will indeed bring a problem, a sign of bad things to come, I'll probably know soon enough. Worst comes to worst, Shrucken will take care of it, if need be. It's what I'm paying him for. In the meantime, the bigger problem at hand. A hangover. Maybe I'll have some absinthe to temper it, dog hairs, or some wine to help get me back to sleep. It's still early, 1 glass won't hurt. Or 2. Whatever the case, I need to think, whatever that will lead me to. Ooh. Here we are, back in the study. With a creepy-ass mirror. Are you gonna see her? Are you gonna see the ghost? And that's why you're throwing out the mirror? It's nothing. Everything leads to nothing. Except for this pounding headache, as if my mind will burst at any time and leak out of my ears. My vision swims in and out of view. My stomach threatens rebellion, with plans of making me throw up what remains of the food I've taken in last night. With how my mouth feels, you'll assume it's filled with cotton. One would think that the fact that I'm hungover would make me the grumpiest person in the room. But as soon as Shrucken knocks and enters the room, the thought goes right out the window, and I can only follow when he gestures towards hallway. Okay, nothing there. And why are you looking so angry? I have questions as to why he would bother me at this hour in the morning. But going by the grim, or the grimmer, than usual air about him, it must be something serious. The man stands there as relaxed and cool as can be, but his eyes hold an intensity that promises nothing but trouble.
I do hope I wasn't interrupting anything. Well, I have plans. Sleeping in is one of them, too. But apparently, the world conspires against me. What do you want? If you wish to sleep so badly, feel free to tuck yourself back in bed. I thought you ought to know that we've had an intruder.
Have we now? That's supposed to happen later today. Because you weren't in the study for that long, were you? Maybe you were. And sue me if that doesn't pique my curiosity. Intruders, thieves who wouldn't dare set foot in my house to try and rob me Wow! Intruders, thieves who would dare set foot into my house to try and rob me were rare. Were rare. Wow, that's difficult. If they had any form of experience, they'd have an idea not to mess with their rights, no matter how tempting our riches may be. No, but now I remember. Zack knocks on the door, is basically thrown out, and then he goes directly. So it's no more than 30 minutes, perhaps. So yeah, maybe I was reading too fast in order to comprehend it. But that did not mean attempted robberies did not happen. What was strange about this one is the fact that Shrucken thought it was important to bring to my attention. Oftentimes they deal with pests because I wouldn't really care how they take care of it, so...
This needs my attention, why? Are they any danger? Actually, I think I'll let you be the judge of that. He's down in the parlor. Come on.
I glance at the bedroom door, hoping to goodness that Hana will remain fast asleep, before following him downstairs. Through the foyer, and into the parlor where a familiar man sits unconscious, tied up to one of the chairs. This is not something we saw as Zachary. He's still unconscious at this part.
I thought I heard something scurrying around. As it turns out, it's a giant rat. And one that had pretended to be a harmless mouse, too.
Oh, Lord. It's that photographer from Luxury Living. What was his name? Steele? Did they not pay him the man enough with his photos that he'd have to resort to stealing? Of course, what other reasons are there to explain his presence? No doubt he had seen such finery during his little photo shoot and thought he could make off with a good amount. I wouldn't blame him really, but it's a disappointment that he would fall so low and prove stereotypes true. Trust a black man to be a thief after all. Oh, you're saying black man, though. Maybe you don't want us to read. No! Well, he's saying black man anyway, not the N-word.
And he's still alive, isn't he?
I would hope so, yeah, yes, of course. Wrong day, there we go. Oh, there it was. Come Sunday morning, Luke woke up with a huge hangover. His headache was further aggravated when his butler called his attention to a problem in the foyer. It's hard to tell with the way his body's too still, breathes too light. But it is there, the subtle rise and fall of his chest. Its presence lets me breathe a sigh of relief. A death caused by one of my men is normal, to be expected really. A dead body I can deal with, it'll just be the one of many I've seen. Ooh, that's bad. But if one turns out while the missus is at home, I'm not too thrilled with the idea.
I saw no reason to do more than incapacitate him. So yes, the man is still alive. Of course, that can be remedied if you wish.
No, this is fine. He wasn't trying to kill us, was he?
If he was, he was wholly unprepared. But I do not think he had such nefarious purposes. He is a big man, but he seems too soft to be a hired killer. A common trespasser or petty thief, maybe. Certainly nothing more.
He is a petty thief. If a petty thief dares to try anything against me, people are forgetting their place. He's to be made an example of. A guy slacks off for once and everyone thinks they can get away with taking advantage. His thieving ways is going to be his away one ticket behind bars. It's only as my anger washes away that I realize that the sun is starting to rise off into the horizon. And I can only feel annoyance at myself for missing another night of sleep.
Call the police then. Let them round him up and bring me some bloody coffee while you're at it.
Thankfully, he leaves me on my own, simmering as I take one of the free seats. And while waiting for my drink, I find myself staring at this man. I can see why Hannah took an interest in him. I
was talking with Zachary, the photographer for Luxury Living.
Hannah is nice, but that doesn't mean she befriended every John and Jane from the street.
He was a perfect gentleman, Luke. I can't say the same for you as of recent.
Jealousy. Look at the man you call a perfect gentleman now, dearest.
Look, Luke. Nothing will happen. You have to relax. It was just a friendly chat.
A friend who takes advantage of someone who has shown them kindness. Truly, such soft hearts could not survive in this world for long. Hannah is only so lucky that I am here for her. Who better to protect her from the monsters than the worst of them all? Who better to protect her from monsters than the worst of them all? He considered himself the worst monster there is. That speaks loudly for his mental health, I would say. Steel, that's his name, isn't it? He's big, built like a bear. I thought as much when I first saw him. More of a teddy bear rather than a grizzly, if I care to be honest. I would have laughed in his face if he told me he was a photographer and had nothing to show to prove it. Going by appearances alone, I'd say he could very well be a common street thug, the sort that I hired to be plain muscle. With the laugh lines and the softness around his cheeks, just his general air has me wondering. How long will a man like him survive in a place like prison? Not that I care, of course. I've sent weaker, spineless and even innocent fools before the police and the courts to be punished. And, as it always does when I'm in such a situation, the power I wield hits me like an unnatural high. Oh. That's bad. It's something else when I can hold a man's life in my hand without resorting to murder. A person is as good as incarcerated the moment I send them Harvey's way. And this makes me wonder if I can make a luxury living grovel, beg for my forgiveness because of the crime committed against me by one of their staff. Deep in my thoughts, stuck into this power trip that rushes through me, I barely notice we have company until Shrucken puts a cup of coffee in my hands.
Officer Carl and his colleague are here to collect. They'll want your statement.
Officer Carl. And as he says, there are 2 officers by the door. Though I can't even bother to spare them the slightest of glance before looking back at the unconscious gollywog.
If they need my statement, I'll give it to their chief. I'm due a visit to a good friend anyway.
After my coffee and a bit of breakfast, of course. Once I'm done breaking my fast and after a cool shower, I call for Shrucken to drive me to the police station so that I can give my statement. Through it all, Harnavel still slumbers, sleeping off whatever illness has taken her. The ride to the precinct is a quiet affair. I'm in no mood for idle chatter with what little sleep I've had. Wow, it all happens so very fast right now. I was kind of afraid of this, but I also get it that we've already seen everything that happens, so of course Luke's parts are going to be a lot faster. But at the same time it feels very rushed, like there is nothing that's happening to Luke. It's just important events. It's difficult to figure out how to make that work properly. Not everything is smooth sailing, however, as soon as I arrive at the precinct either. But as they say, a smooth sea never made a skilled sailor. It would be more suspicious if everything had gone on without ruckus. And it would be more boring too. Because who doesn't love a good fight and a bit of drama? There's nothing quite like beating your opponent down and making them learn who's the boss. If life just slumped over, there would be no point in even trying. But I would be much happier if the troubles life threw at me didn't include ruining my suit. Life, in this case, is that estate agent Lily who had the audacity to throw water at me.
You bloody...
It's been a pleasure doing business with you, sir.
Who even does that? That third world country woman who's gotten too big for her britches. That's who. Motherfucker. This is a Citon X5 and this whole ensemble cost me £40,000. £40,000. That's a lot. I could charge her for water damages to the tie alone and have her begging down on her knees for my forgiveness. That little girl, really now. If I hadn't heard that the company she works for is closing, I'd talk to her manager and have her fired. A graceful exit into the police chief's room was all I could muster in the face of such insult. My mood is further soured by the fact that I can still see the rest of the precinct from here. At the very least, Johans is making himself useful and standing outside the door to make sure no one enters unannounced. And now, here I am, dabbing a handkerchief at my wet suit. To no avail. It'd have to be given to one of the maids to clean as soon as I get home. This is just horrible. The interlining is going to pucker and pull. Ugh! But at least it's not wine, I suppose.
I'm so sorry about what happened out there, mates. But you know how it is with these officers. All testosterone and ranking.
What do you mean? Oh, right. Feathers. Ashton, that's his name.
Well, you need to learn how to keep your men in line better, mate. But I didn't come here to talk about these hot-headed daft villains. They could be dead from the neck up for all I care.
He has a propensity to forget one tiny detail. I own him. I want to see the rage reminding me who exactly the boss here is. I very well can, thanks to the wonders of soundproofing. But the stressed and nervous expression on his face stops me from giving him a tongue lashing. It would really do me no good to be at odds with me when it does prove to be a useful ally from time to time. So I listen when he speaks, focusing on the smell of coffee and cigarettes that fill the room in order to curb my tongue. For now. But boy, when you let a man like Harvey Lee speak, he speaks a lot.
Look, all I'm asking is that you be a bit patient with them. You do realize a good chunk of them don't work. They aren't with you, so to speak. Bunch of kids who think the police are superheroes or some cock and bull. They don't know how things work around here. Especially that Frey boy. The lot of them are just tired.
And why are you telling me this?
I was going to ask you if you knew anything about it. Perhaps one of yours know. There's been a string of unfortunate incidents as of late. Just recently some bloke named Christian C was acting all nuts.
Interesting. They completely reread the line and they did the next one.
Off his rocker, that man. And we had to hold him, thought he was drunk. Up until he started bashing his brains in. Now he's a vegetable in a hospital bed.
Oof.
Another time, some Mark Julius was reported missing. Some are thinking we've got a serial killer on our hands as of late. That Cooper lady from BRC got done in, and a Father Norman, too.
Oh. He did die eventually, huh? So, and he never saw the letter, I believe. He only went to the house. So either it's the house that's cursed, from what I've been saying from the beginning, and not the actual letter, but the house. Or Father Norman was cursed because he is a spiritual man and can pull shit like that towards him much easier than anyone else. So maybe he didn't need the letter. But Father Norman too, which means you are not brothers, the three of you. Well, the two of you at least. Lee and Norman.
You have to understand, mate. In a place as peaceful as Luxburn, this makes people wary. Reported crime rates go a bit higher than usual, and it makes them antsy and temperamental.
Are you implying that I have anything to do with them? Because as much as I hate to say it and admit, I am out of the loop. This is the first I've heard of these incidents.
Really? I'd say I'm insulted, but this is par for the course. Harvey knows who and what I am. We have a deal of sorts after all. Crime is always expected in a society with laws and with humans who are allowed their free will. But why not strike a deal with the devil to make sure the said crime has some order at least?
Ah, well, that's a shame, I suppose. Figured if we could get any leads, it'd be from you.
I can't stop the scoff that leaves me. Can these police officers really be so incompetent? The chief of the damn police force seems to find it amusing, however. Because as far as I can see, whether he believes it or not, he's got it easy in our little deal. He has to sit back and relax, let me do my thing, and not turn against me while he gets to live a comfy life. But perhaps that's why I haven't killed him off yet. His predecessor to the position wasn't so agreeable.
You know, someday I'll stop turning in my own men when they piss me off. And what will you do then? You and your men will all be lost without me.
I'll just hope that when the time comes, I'll already be all wrinkly and retired then.
It's a play of his, it always is. To act all casual and chuckling at everything like it doesn't faze him. Pretends he's one of those kind of wise old men type so that the people can't bring themselves to be angry at him. I really do not like this smile on your lips. It looks unnatural with his face. But I've seen him drunk off his ass bemoaning his fate, what he's become though. But I've seen him drunk off his arse bemoaning his fate, what's he become, though he tries to be as vague as he can even in his inebriated state. And I've seen the malice this man is capable of. That's why it confuses me with how he reacts to what I say next.
So what is our little gollywog looking at?
Now, there's never a time or place for that kind of racist talk, son.
A gollywog is a racist term. I thought, okay, never even heard of it before, so I didn't know that. He cuts me off in a firm tone before I can say anything further. There is steel in his eyes, and he near slams his fist on the table when he does. And I can't help but sigh, realizing that he's going through one of his self-righteous streaks, rare as they may be.
You know our little deal ties up my hands when it comes to a lot of things with you. But I hear that Steele is a good kid, and I ask you at least show a bit of respect.
He's a felon. I think I'm entitled to call him what I please. I don't owe him any respect at all.
In my pocket, he may be, but it still shows the path of a policeman himself when he was a young man. And I bet it just boils his blood that he has to deal with the likes of me. But I, in turn, hate this side of him that makes him think he's still some do-gooder, some hero of justice. Because spineless fools were useful, self-righteous ones forced me to do away with them eventually.
You put plenty of your own white men in jail. I don't see you calling them a white cracker or whatever lingo they have nowadays. And if not respect, you can at least owe the lads some basic human decency.
Whatever. But if you gotta stick up your ass about it, I'll concede. He's going behind bars either way, for however long that is.
2 weeks. I don't know. 2 weeks. Less than 24 hours because and then he gets the death penalty. Besides, what does it matter if he's black or white? The color of the skin doesn't change anything about current circumstances. It's a trifle matter to argue over.
It's 6 months and a fine worth 5,000 for breaking and entering.
Okay.
Unless you'd be willing to go easy on the guy. Let him bump it down to a misdemeanor and juvenile offense. We'll be giving him probation and charge him for the damages.
And that's it?
That's it. That's what a white man gets, and that's what he gets too.
Bringing in race again.
Unless you're going to stir up a fuss and make a big deal out of this.
In case you've forgotten, I do what I want, Lee. I don't even see why you protect the man. He's nothing but a petty thief.
And won't that look bad on you? The Luke Wright, getting his panties in a bunch over a petty thief. You said it yourself. He's nothing. Not worth your attention or effort.
Ooh.
So why don't you just let me handle it like I'm supposed to?
And I do hate to say it, but he's got me there. I hate that all this power comes with a great balancing act. Be too lax and people will think they could get away with the smallest of things. Be too harsh and people will... well, they'll not want to work with me for long, and that's never a good thing in the long term. And it shows on me poorly if I were to fuss over such an insignificant little maggot.
Now, is that all you're here for?
Well, there is another thing I want to ask.
What? Can't I visit a friend? That detective. Feathers. Should I be concerned about him? He seemed keen.
Feathers? Oh, you mean Frey? Nah, he's not really anything to worry about. I got him assigned to your case to make the whole thing believable. The boy's a good detective, one of the best I have on the force.
I almost ran past that. To make things believable. What exactly does that mean? I mean, I understand it, but make it believable to whom and for what reason?
But he won't be able to do shit with all the red tape tying him up. In fact, the higher-ups just took him off your tail.
The case against me? I still have one? Harvey, my dear old friend, have you been slacking off? Surely I told you to take care of that sort of thing. Surely it shouldn't have taken you this long. Surely it should be quiet by now on your end. They shouldn't be assigning anything to what's supposed to be a cold case.
I doubt you've got anything to really worry about unless you go out there and announce the shit you've done. They don't want to accuse the most powerful man in Luxburn without being 100% sure about things, of course.
The way he goes about it is so nonchalantly.
But it's because of that company problem Suarez been talking about. Can't believe that's still a thing. You think the geek would have figured it out by now? He's supposed to be a computer genius. Don't go blaming me for it. He's the one slacking off, if you ask me. Don't you be pointing fingers my way.
And has Suarez mentioned anything new about that?
You'd have to ask him about it. You know I don't understand half the technical computer mumbo-jumbo the guy goes on about.
Oh, fucking boomer.
It's like the guy speaks a whole other language. Which, technically he does, but you know what I mean.
Yes, I suppose you have a point. Very well, if you haven't got anything else useful for me, I might as well head home. Get some bloody peace and quiet.
I could have some tea, maybe with some whiskey and a nap, and I'll be as right as rain. At least one of us should get some good R&R, because it looks like Harvey isn't going to get any. Not with the commotion that started up outside the room. From inside the office we can both clearly see something's come up. And opening the doors let the din of the place flood in with officers going about and phones ringing up the store.
Looks like your children are in need of their minder, Harvey. Whatever could this be?
A jumper!
What in blazes is going on here? What's a fucking fire?
There's been a jumper, Chief.
It is utter madness as callers ring in all about it. A jumper? In Luxbourne? Oh, what was that? If I weren't so tired, I'd given it more interest. Besides, going by what the officers on the phones are saying, it's probably far too late for the poor soul. They've already gone splat and all lines are clogged with the distressed and the busybodies. It's not every day you hear about such a things in this city. Or at least it's not every day I hear about a jumper that I haven't caused. As if on cue, Harvey glances my way with a tight expression on his face. And I have to shake my head at him. No, this one isn't mine. Before I leave him to his pets. Stepping out from the chaos, I let the breathe of fresh air, or as fresh as it gets to get in a city. Let's read the journal, and then I'm ending it for today. Harvey Lee, Chief Inspector. And, oh, that's interesting. These two should be switching place, because I understand it as, even if they come in different orders, they are still in chronological order. So, this should be before this. Depending on what this says of course. Following the incident with Ashton Frey and Isabella Santos, Luke Wright met with the LPD Chief Inspector Lee to discuss what they would be doing with Zachary Steele. He was also surprised to hear that the investigator of the Loxbourne firm case was still going on, which their chief reassured him about. Okay, no, so this does happen before this. The jumper is, yeah, anyway, you know what I mean. So that's it for today's episode. The question is, are we going to see that image again of Rebecca squished against the floor? Yeah, that would be gnarly. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one. And remember, just because you're not the main character, it doesn't mean you're not important. Goodbye, everyone.